Captain Jax Ryder strode into the Crystal Spire Casino on Varkas 7 with murder in his eyes and 800,000 credits on the line. Duke Vareth had welched on a smuggling run. Tonight, the debt came due in blood or bullion. The high-stakes Sabak table was ringed by mercenaries and sycophants. Jax slapped the marker down. "Pay up, Vareth, or I start collecting pieces." The Duke only smirked, snapped his fingers, and she entered. Deep royal purple skin shimmered like liquid amethyst beneath chandelier light. Waist-length blonde hair, actual living gold, threaded with tiny bioluminescent motes, cascaded over bare shoulders. 4 exquisitely toned arms moved in perfect, hypnotic grace as she poured nectar into the Duke's glass. Golden eyes never lifted from the floor. A collar of black diamonds circled her throat, the mark of a treaty bride from the Avaran matriarchy. Her name, whispered in awe, was Lyrian. Vareth laughed. "Take the credits, or take my newest wife. Debt settled either way." Jax meant to spit in his face and walk. Then Lyrian's gaze flicked up just once. In those molten gold eyes, he saw centuries of cages and one heartbeat of wild, desperate hope. Something ancient and stupid inside his chest answered. He seized her wrist, warm velvet over steel, and yanked her through the stunned crowd. Alarms screamed, blaster fire shredded chandeliers. They sprinted for the hangar, her crystal heels clicking like gunfire beside his boots. Behind them, the Duke roared betrayal. Ahead, only the stolen shuttle Firehawk waited. As the ramp closed and engines roared, Lyrian looked back at the exploding palace, blonde hair whipping in the wind. "You just made us the most wanted beings in the spiral," she said, voice like midnight silk. Jax grinned, punching them into hyperspace. "Good, means we're worth catching." 3 weeks hiding in the Crimson Veil Nebula. Firehawk drifted dark among violet clouds while bounty hunters prowled the edges. Lyrian adapted faster than Jax expected. She rewired the sensor array with 2 hands while cooking with the other 2, blonde hair tied back in a practical braid that still managed to look regal. Her deep purple skin caught the cockpit's emergency reds, turning her into living art. At night, they shared the single bunk because the ship was cold and neither wanted to sleep alone. The first time her 4 arms slid around him, Jax froze, half expecting her to snap his spine. Instead, she tucked her face into his neck and whispered, "I have never been held by someone who wasn't paid to own me." He kissed her then, slow and reverent, tasting starlight on her lips. Her lower hands traced the scars across his back, while the upper pair tangled in his hair. They learned each other by starlight, her gasps when he kissed the hollow beneath her lowest ribs, his groan when she used 2 mouths' worth of kisses down his chest. Clothes stayed on, barely, but the promise crackled hotter than any hyperspace jump. A solar flare forced them to dock inside an abandoned mining asteroid. For 48 hours they were trapped, engines cold, comms dark. Lyrian stood at the viewport, blonde hair glowing against the storm of charged particles outside. "Avaran bond only once," she said quietly. "The Duke never touched me. I am unclaimed." Jax crossed the deck in 3 strides, cupped her face. "Then let me be the only one who ever does." She kissed him like the galaxy was ending, 4 arms stripping his shirt, nails raking lightly down his chest. He lifted her easily. She wrapped legs and arms around him, purple skin fever-hot against his. They made it as far as the captain's chair. He worshipped her slowly, mouth mapping every inch of royal purple skin, tongue tracing the silver mating marks that bloomed across her collarbones when arousal peaked. She arched, crying out in melodic Avaran as 2 hands clutched his shoulders and 2 more guided him exactly where she needed. When he finally sank into her, the bonding marks flared supernova bright, sealing them in an ancient psychic link. Pleasure crashed through them both, shared and doubled, until the asteroid's lights flickered from the sheer energy. Afterward, she lay sprawled across his chest, blonde hair spilling like molten gold, 4 arms cradling him possessively. "Now you are mine, and the galaxy will burn before I let you go." The Duke's dreadnought eclipsed the asteroid field, tractor beams locking Firehawk like prey. Boarding pods slammed home. Jax and Lyrian fought back to back, his blaster singing, her forearms wielding twin plasma blades she'd forged from scrap. They carved a path to the bridge, bodies pressed close between volleys, stealing desperate kisses tasting of blood and smoke. When the Duke himself appeared, 10 feet of armored arrogance, Lyrian stepped forward, blonde hair wild, mating marks blazing. "I was never yours," she snarled, and disarmed him with humiliating ease. Jax put a blaster to the Duke's forehead. "She's coming with me, permanently." The Duke laughed until Lyrian's lower hand pressed a blade to his throat. "Touch him, and I collect your spine as a trophy." They escaped in a stolen courier ship, leaving the dreadnought crippled and the Duke alive, barely, to spread the legend. 6 months later, the Spiral whispers their names with equal parts terror and awe, the human rogue and his violet queen who toppled a duchy for love. They claimed a hidden moon with twin suns and silver oceans. Their home is half smuggler's den, half palace, walls lined with wanted hollows and Averin silk. Every dawn, Jax wakes to 4 purple arms pulling him close, blonde hair tickling his chest as Lyrian kisses the hollow of his throat. Some mornings are slow and lazy, her riding him beneath open skylights while mating marks pulse like heartbeats. Others are fierce, her pinning him to the floor after sparring, taking him with warrior's triumph until they're both breathless and laughing. At night, they stand on the balcony, her back to his chest, his arms around her waist, while she rests all 4 of hers over his. The bounty on their heads is now astronomical. Neither cares. "You stole me for a debt," she teases, turning to kiss him under alien stars. "And I'd steal you 1,000 times again," he answers, lifting her so her feet leave the ground, her laughter bright as the moon's. The Duke still hunts, empires still scheme, but Jax Ryder and Lyrian, once a gambler's prize and a smuggler's mistake, have rewritten the rules. Some treasures aren't won at tables. They're stolen with a heartbeat, defended with blood, and kept forever in the only currency that matters, love that burns hotter than any star in the spiral.